Hudson? Yeah.
No, Dublin.
Oh, Dublin. Oh, you're by the Willow Street. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of, what a time. What a time to be alive. Anyway, I Facebook Live that meeting. I was by myself in the old training room.
You know, the Facebook Live used to catch me a lot. Even when I didn't want
Yeah,
to come
there's
to
something,
meetings.
there's some magic
about,
to
like,
it.
I was scrolling, wasting time on Facebook, and I'm like,
Now old
let's do
people
some real
use
estate
now
today.
old people use Facebook. If we TikTok live.
I
So Mark Zuckerberg is actually talking about erasing everyone's friends and starting over to reinvigorate the whole Facebook platform.
think it would destroy it. That wouldn't make
It would be like, well, if you delete me, I don't even need to be there.
Yeah. Like
This is what happens when we don't give a shit about time.
But then you have scam accounts that are fake, and then you friend
I feel like something's going on with our
Yeah,
account.
I think it's very weird that we have less people online than normal, and
This would be the day not to show up. All right.
yeah. But we're thrilled you're here, Aaron, and James, and Mignon. Hi. And Chris Smith, the whole Chris Smith team over there. Look at you guys. Good morning. Is it raining in the Lower Garden District as well? Just kidding. Yes, it definitely is. Glad you're safe and inside. Let's get going with some property.
All right, Ken, come on down.
Ken, do you have a listing on Mulberry Drive? We didn't know.
You're on camera right now.
I got a lot of grief. Jean and Cody were like, I think this is.
This is where the property discussion.
They said this is week 3 of it.
Okay, here we go.
Ken, we know about this house.
Yes, thank you very much. All right. So real quick, house has been staged, looks great, looks so much
Totally
better than it
different.
did before.
Yes?
Yes. There. Yep. Take a look. I'll
You
send
can
them
put
to you.
an
But
animated GIF
Yeah.
on this slideshow.
Don't tell them. They can barely make a slide.
seller is very, very motivated, and he has 2 people that are pounding him daily to keep him motivated. So come take a look.
But you actually, I mean, to be fair, this was what you truly considered the deal of the week last week.
Yes.
Okay, because
Under
you think it should be like
protest.
1.7 or something. I mean, you had.
Yep.
And we talked about the importance of staging in our class with.
I misunderstood. I thought you could only do deals of the week on yours.
It could be
And I
yours.
found out at last week's meeting that wasn't the case. So this week, I'm coming in.
Yeah.
Philip, you're going down.
We got you.
You're going down.
All right.
All right.
I love the Google
Hey, we did a nice-
competition. Like they thrive on it.
Guy on. I see you online.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Unmute yourself.
He's unmuted. Still can't hear you though.
I can hear him a little bit.
We can hear you, Guy.
Oh, okay, thank you. So this was actually, this was like a old David Ernst living back in the day. But my seller, the fourplex, 2 levels on one lot, 350. It generates 38.75 in income off of the rent. And so we're on the market for 350.
Awesome. I think that was a flex, calling it an old David Ernst listing.
Dan, how's the flood zone?
Oh, Julie. The question here is, what is the flood zone? Got it. All right. Well, our special guest today is no other than Kristen. You're still, Guyon, you're still hot.
Yeah, guy, you might want to mute now. All right, so everybody,
Still is not muted.
when it's a special, guy, we hear you. Yeah.
I'll go mute him. You can.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Do that.
Okay.
We'll hit that button right there. My mic was on, dude.
All the mics are off. Which is the clicker?
Sweet, there it is.
This one?
This one right here.
This one.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so Jeffrey and I talked and I said, what do you guys need? Like, what's the theme right now? What's happening? And he said it was about prioritizing time. So I was going to go through that because I think it goes deeper than just like my calendar and what you want to do. I think people get in phases of time management and non-management, and also like avoidance, and then the like smoke screen of I'm busy, you know, and what and how they're spending their time.
And it's a real bummer that the best time in New Orleans for like festivals and fun things overlaps with our busiest time of the year.
Okay, so a little work-life
and our
balance.
highest volume. So it's really easy to just put out the fires and keep going, and then you realize, ooh, you got a big stop that happens in like June, July because no lead gen happened, or you're out of your rhythm for a while in April, May.
Yeah, it is a misalignment, I think, and it comes misalignment in a lot of ways. And sometimes it's time management, sometimes it's leverage, and sometimes it's deeper than that. So today I was going to dig at the deeper in that.
Let's
I
do
know
it.
we don't have a ton of time, but I have a couple slides. So I want to talk about aligned action and the end of busy today. Okay, so priorities are a decision. And I wrote down some key points because I really wanted you guys to like have these, write them down, and like internalize them. Because if I looked at your calendar, would I be able to tell what you're trying to achieve or your goals? And I'm happy to send this out. Yeah, and sometimes if the calendar looks like chaos, that's reflective. Sometimes the calendar looks like nothing and then it reflects indecision. I know I've talked a ton of time management strategies in the past times that I was here, but I really wanted to dig at your misalignment that's happening internally, and that's being reflected in all of your activities, choices, and things. And sometimes it's hard to get clear on what your goals are. You may have a couple and feel pulled in different directions. You may have conflicting things in your life, like work-life balance or family versus work. And so it's starting to prioritize and be able to categorize and align kind of the silos of your life so that you can make the decisions that you want in order to get to where you want to go. And be consistently using that as like a barometer for the decisions that you make every day and how you structure your time, the choices you make, you know, maybe even like what you eat for lunch and when. So
if you're waking up and you're saying, and you're literally going straight into emails every day, or you notice that you're in a season where you're just going straight into putting out fires and catching things, or if you feel like your calendar is like playing Tetris because there's no slots in it for any time for anything for the next 2 weeks, these are times where you should say pump the brakes. Like, we've got to take a look at things and come up with a new plan.
yeah, it's about awareness, because a lot of times we're like dragged along behind whatever's happening instead of us like saying like, no, I've already identified, I'm aligned with where I want to go, and I can file everything else in behind that. So your calendar doesn't lie. It definitely tells a story of what you believe that you deserve, because you've told yourself a story, or there's been a story put there that you're subscribed to. And then you kind of have to identify that. And if you can get to these base layers, it literally changes how you operate. I work with clients, literally probably this is where 100% of the time we start, this and financial tracking. But like these two things are the most important, because prioritizing is a decision. It's not about time management, it's about like alignment with your message. So I wanted to ask you guys, what's the story that you're telling yourself? And like, you probably have an initial story, and then like, what's the next story? And then kind of examine that.
I'm busy.
Yeah,
As
that's
Quinn would
always the
say,
story.
right?
Busy.
And then that's the initial, that's the like headline. And then what's deeper than that is, well, I'm needed at all these things. They're all necessary.
Yeah, so sometimes it's
I can't cancel that.
Right, sometimes you can. We're worried. The story then is like, I'm going to disappoint someone. And then you have to ask yourself, who cares? Like, how detrimental is it? How much responsibility do I really have here? It's leverage sometimes. Like, do you have leverage in your life? Like, Cody and I were talking about this actually before, because we were talking about all of the things he's involved in. And I was like, tell me what your leverage looks like, because that was my first, like, what are you doing? How are you delegating? And it falls at various ends of the spectrum for sure. So it really is about like your thought process and your story, or the story that's there shapes your identity in the situation, in your relationship to your goals, or your relationship to the path that you want to be on. Then that in turn produces a behavior of action or non-action. And then you have results. So like what you do every day will reflect your dollar per hour. You know, like, are you in low dollar per hour activities? Are you doing things that are going to build the future? I mean, are you waking up every day and kind of aligning with, okay, I've decided that in 5 years I want to be here, in 3 years I want to be here, and in a year from now I want to be here, and then like 90 days I need to do this in order to get to that 5-year place. And it really is being able to like slow down enough to create a plan, like a GPS even, you know, so that you have like a plan and what you know you need to do, and having that in front of you. Because I think we get pulled in a million different directions. Balance gets off. You have a lot of perceived opportunities and perceived responsibilities.
And this doesn't have to be like another plan on the shelf.
No.
This could literally just be a simple number, like I have to sign a listing agreement every week.
Yeah, it is about simplifying.
If you can figure out some simple numbers, you don't need to make a big long plan. You can just make a very simple, like,
Yeah.
I have to sign a listing agreement every week, or a buyer contract, like put a house under contract, one or the other.
Yeah,
And those are non-negotiable.
definitely. It's reverse engineering whatever your long term is to like momentary things that you can take action on in the day to day that simplify it so you're not lost in the weeds. And you still have to change the story. So you still have to go and say, like, am I rising to my goals? Are my behaviors patterns that I've always had? And where would I start to intervene if I was going to intervene today? Like, what would be a small thing? I see it show up in my coaching clients literally daily. And usually the stories are like around self-worth, like I don't deserve it, or I'm too busy. They refuse to kind of look and back out things because they're stuck in things that are replacing the behaviors they should be doing, like because they believe that they're not worthy of it. So I think it's like getting to the nugget of like, do you feel like you're worthy of what you have set out to achieve? People also will set goals depending on what they believe that they're worthy of. And then it gets reflected in their calendar. So literally, like my favorite thing right now would be like, show me your calendars. Like I want to see it on your phone, like somebody screen share their calendar with me so I can see what is going on. Because what does yours look like? And do you have time?
Clark Griswold would say it's rather full.
Yeah,
If you were looking at mine.
Mine is crazy full, but it's only full from like 9 to 4. And then I stop my day at 4 because I need the hour to catch up with the end of my day. And like, so you also need to think about building in time into your day and in your week for you to catch things. Because the other thing I see is that people are like, I'm so busy, I don't have time to do all these things. Well, first of all, you're doing too many things, probably. You probably are doing the wrong things. You're probably not leveraged. You're not delegating. And you can still delegate without having to hire.
I'm a solo agent. I can't afford an admin, or don't want an admin. How do I get some quick leverage?
There's a million AI tools, number one.
True.
AI tools, there's tons of things that you can
But
do.
a TC would be a really simple piece of leverage too.
A TC might be. And I think you just have to go through your kind of life by design exercise and see, can I work that in? And if I do one more deal, does it cover my TC for the year? And if I have the time freed up, would it allow me to do the lead gen that I need to do it? I'm like, hire the TC, always. It's worth the, what is it, 350 probably where you guys are?
It's like
somewhere
450.
between,
Yeah,
okay,
450.
yeah. So if you did one more deal per year, if it allowed you to get out of your administrative load, would it pay for itself?
And they probably do a better job because they're proactive instead of me being reactive.
100%, yeah. Question,
How do you help people confront their self-worth issue, as you're saying?
Okay, so it's a process. And I have a master in NLP, so I use a lot of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming techniques, to look at people's patterns, but also to go back and look at the story. And I have training in coaching in mental health. So it is a process that I work with clients on. short-term answer for people when they ask me is I'm like, you have an inner voice that's telling you a story. And there's cognitive behavior studies around like how to deal with that. And there's NLP techniques to deal with it. But what I tell people is I have a worksheet. If you want it, you guys email me if you need to confront your inner voice. But it's about sitting down with that quiet place where you can hear whatever story you're telling yourself and question it. Because its intent is to help you, like it was put there or you're keeping it there for a reason. So its intent is to help you. So you have to kind of confront it, say, thanks, I understand you're trying to help me, we're misaligned because now I'm an adult and I need to like approach this differently. So let's come to a win-win where we can agree on what this story is going to be now from today forward. And there's a lot of steps to that, but you can definitely start to have that conversation because you're gonna question it. It's gonna be like, we all have imposter syndrome. We always walk into a listing appointment or a place and be like, oh, I can't do this, I'm not. I don't care who you are, everyone has a seed of it somewhere. And it will knock you at a point where you think you aren't, like, I'm not ready, I can't do this. But you have to ask it why. And then you have to remember you can change that narrative. So, and if it tells you like, well, you're not good enough or you don't know what you're talking about, be like, well, why? And then keep asking why until you get to the point where you can counteract that story, where you can be like, oh, actually, I do know, and this is why. I had a realtor actually recently, she's new into the business, that I coach, and she was talking about how like when I walk into listing appointments as a newer realtor, transitioning from another industry, people ask me like, how long have I been in the business? And I said, well, like, does that matter? Why does that matter? And she's like, well, they want me to, tell them I've been in the business for 10 years or something. And I was like, well, are you sure that they want that? And she came from an accounting and business background that was very strong. And I was like, take what skills you have and you know that you have from another industry and bring them forward to now and say, this is why I'm an asset. I have a business and accounting background. That's going to make me particularly niched in these areas of what I'm looking for. That's going to be different from other people. So I think it's starting to confront that story because that story will stop you from action on all things, or it'll mess up your path to goal.
Yeah, I think people would say, well, I was a teacher. I don't know, like it's gonna be really hard to be in real estate. No, it's a great profession to leave and come into real estate. There's all sorts of these stories that we get in our head.
Yeah.
Mess us up.
Yeah, which is why I want to go remember who you are. Did I do that on the wrong slide? Can I go back one?
Yeah, you can go back. You hit the
Oh
back
yeah,
button.
that's why I want you guys to remember who you are. Like, close your eyes for a second even, or do it another time when you have some time. Like, who did you set out to be when you started in real estate? What did you want? How much did you want out of it? And are you there today? And if not, go back to like what that avatar of yourself was and what did you set out to do, and like reclaim it. And if your own avatar isn't strong enough, channel Mark Cuban or somebody else. I don't know, whoever you love. And I'm always like, I used to speak a lot in my past life, like in huge conferences. And I was younger and much more aligned with my imposter syndrome at that time. So I would be like, and so I would remember like walking into like the places with like the people who are taking you in there. And I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna channel Mark Cuban, because what would Mark Cuban do when he walked into this room? And I would just like embrace it, because it would allow me to continue to take action. And it served me. So maybe it's not Mark Cuban for you, maybe somebody else, but it really will change the way you start to approach the behaviors that you need to do. Like, you need to lead gen every day. You might need one listing appointment a week or 2 appointments a week. So you have to figure out like, what's gonna help me get there? So that's where I gave you guys some framework. Super easy. Like, cut the noise. Look at your calendar right now, and if there's nothing on it, we have another conversation to have. But what's on there that you are just being busy with? And some people, when you're working at a high level, have a lot of things. Like, I have another whole business, another whole company that I own and run with someone else. So when you're in a lot of things, like Cody and I were talking about this, your time is siloed, so you have to be very protective of it. And even as like a mom or a dad or a family or a husband or a wife, your time still needs to be siloed based on like, I need to spend time with my family. I need to spend time in my businesses. I need to figure out how many blocks of things I can do a day and how are those walking me towards like all the goals that I have. And so just cut the noise. Like if there's something that you are doing that you should not be doing, someone else might be able to do for you, or it's like a next week thing, push it. And make sure you bake in time in your week to catch some of those things. Like I think I already said, Fridays after 2 o'clock, I don't take anything because that's gotta be time for me to like prep, get stuff done. Someone calls and says, I need you and it's emergency. It's definitely probably 99% of the time not. It'll go till Friday. Like if I don't have time, Friday will be when you hear from me. And then name the standard. What are your non-negotiables based on that? Like, what are you like, no more? Even your own story is your non-negotiable. Like, I'm not listening to it anymore. I'm gonna choose to take a different action. And then act before you're ready. So what are you hesitating on? So I wanted you guys to like jot your notes down. Like what are you telling yourself that's keeping you playing small? And what is the noise? And then I said, what are you hesitating on even though you already know what to do? Because you know what to do. Your story's getting in the way.
Isn't that the worst?
That's the worst. And literally every single agent that I coach, CEOs that I coach, they know what to do, but they need like a sounding board. First they need validation. Then they need like, yeah, your story's crap, of validating that. And then you know the right action.
Yeah.
Ask yourself why that you're not taking it. And then commit to one thing. In the next 24 hours, what's that one thing that you need to be doing that you know you need to do? Write it down, make a note, jot it somewhere, and do it.
Love that.
Just do it. Like why is always my question. Okay, you want it, tell me why. Tell me why you're not doing it. Then what's the story that's telling you not to do it? Okay, who put the story there? Did you put it there or someone else put it there? 99% of the time someone else put it there and it was probably old. So, okay, great. Now how do we want to deal with that story so that you can actually take action?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you want it to be interactive.
Yeah, I do. I want to talk about it.
Let's do it.
I have a question. So I really want to live and die by my calendar. There's a lot that I know I can be better about.
Yeah.
One part that I'm starting to really see with myself is putting in my calendar time to prepare for
Yes.
other things in my calendar. So I might say, oh, listing appointment Wednesday. But what does it say for Tuesday to prepare for that listing appointment on Wednesday? And I was just curious what you have found, like with your coaching clients, when it comes to preparation and putting that on the calendar, and just like what little pearls of wisdom you might have on that, because that's something that I'm really having a challenge with.
Yeah, 100%. And so when I work with people, I also try to look at how they process information, because I can tell you eyes all the time blocked, but each one of you is going to need a different system. Some of you are hybrid, some of you are digital, some of you are paper, and so it really becomes a little trial and error. But no matter what system that you're using, we often either put too much or too little in there, depending on how you want to go. So some people need an open framework to be able to have flexibility because of the tight minute by minute, which I'm a minute by minute. Like if it's not on my calendar, it won't even happen. I won't even think about it. Some people that I work with need like the flexibility in it because it feels too tight and rigid and there's too much boundaries. That feels negative. So it's figuring out which is version or where do you kind of fall on the spectrum, and then making sure you're pre-planning, all of you. I don't care which version you are. It's like I have time every week to sit down and look ahead. My calendar is up daily and I look literally every day. I look all day on my phone. I look and then I see like, what am I missing? And I look ahead, and I have assistants, so now my assistant will manage it. But it is baking in time. Like if I have to go somewhere, I have to factor in my drive time, so I put in drive time. You guys, when you do your calendar first, go in and block out your workouts, your food, like block out when you're gonna eat lunch, even if it's something small. If you don't block out time, the downtime, the catch-up time, the time to like even just slow your brain down for a second, you won't run the marathon. You'll burn out. And I deal with burnout with high-level teams literally every day. It's one of my other most had conversations. Like people being like, I want to grow, and I'm crushing myself because I can't. I'm totally tanked. And then I have to get them back from the verge of the burnout so that they can be functioning again. And it's a lot, especially if it starts to affect your health and your families and all the other things. So you really do need to be always thinking ahead, but reverse engineering it for like, what is the week ahead and what's the day need to look like? Right. And not being afraid to cancel stuff or move it, because it's a perception of someone else's urgency is not always accurate. So especially like we're in a business where real estate is very time demanding and also very time sensitive. So it's learning how to create boundaries around your time and presetting those with clients so that they know, like, if we're negotiating, I'm going to show up for you. We're going to be there and we're going to do it. But they often think like they're your only client. I mean, how many of you guys have a client that thinks like they're the only person in your life and you might have 20 other clients? So it's really being able to say to those people, like, I got you. We are going to prioritize if we are in a time sensitive. But if not, this is when typically I work, and this is when you'll hear from me or my team in the next 24 hours or something like that. Yeah.
Where does spontaneity play into this? Or doesn't?
So it's different for everybody. For me, my calendar stops at 4, and then I can do whatever I want. And then if someone calls, though, so it's spontaneity either by someone else's choice or mine. So if it's spontaneity for me, like I know I want to have lunch with people or I want to have coffees whenever, I have certain days where I have that openness, and if it doesn't happen, I can do something else. But I have the time reserved so that I don't fill it with nonsense or busyness or someone else's.
What happens like, oh, XYZ's in lunch, let's go, and then that turns into a couple of hours. It's like that.
It depends on your goal. So for me, I am so aligned so tightly with the next 5 years of my life. Like I know exactly, I can feel it, picture it. Like I'm gonna write a book, I can see it. I will tell you, like, you'll see this book come out. I am so aligned with that. So like I will say no. I'll be like, I love you, that's awesome. I'm gonna see you on brunch in 2 weeks. I did this to someone who my sister's saying, like, this is so true. I have friends and we all are in the same kind of circle. And I had a friend be like, we need to have dinner, like her and her husband and myself and my boyfriend. And he's online today and he asked me, what are you talking about? And I said, self-sabotage today is what I told him I was talking about. But they were like, we need to have dinner. That would be great for me. I would love to have dinner with them. I cannot have dinner with them until July because I'm traveling, my weekends are filled. So I said to her, like, I love you, I'll see you in July, let's pick a date. And so we picked a date. So I'll see her like on July 17th, I think, is the night I have dinner with her and her husband.
Wow.
But it's just,
Our New Orleans schedules get right in the way.
well, you got to plan it. You know
No,
what's
that's
coming
exactly
up.
it. That's
but
exactly-
that's exactly it. Yeah, you got to plan it. You got to know what's coming up. Like, and I do know what's coming up. Like, I'll look ahead and see, like, socially. I mean, I have a full social life. We do stuff. We like to travel, so part of our social is like travel. Like, I think I'm home 8 days in May. So right now in May, you can't get a hold of me.
I think this spontaneity.
I will also be here so soon. I mean, it's like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And my life is so full, but I think it's just deciding, like, if it's important for you, leave time for those things. If you're like, I know I want to have lunch with friends, or I know I want to do this, leave time for it.
Right.
Like, have days, like Fridays for me are totally open. So if someone wants to have brunch, coffee, lunch, I am there. My evenings get a little dicey because I have a teenager graduating and one going into high school. So I have to, yeah.
The spontaneity argument, though, you got to look at how you define spontaneity.
Yeah.
Is it, I just throw everything away that's important to me to go do this, or I leave time to go, like, Wednesdays at the Square is important to me because I want to go listen to music, I want to see friends, I want to relax and unwind.
Yeah.
So if you give yourself ample time there, you get to go do anything you want in that block, and you just freed yourself, and you treat it like an appointment so that somebody else doesn't take that time. And I think that's what happens a bunch. Like, I remember the first time, like, I was getting in Calendly, Ken had just joined the office, and I had that thing wide open, and he booked noon, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm not eating lunch today. Like, there's an appointment walking in. And it was just a funny, it wasn't Ken's fault. He was available, he clicked it, and good for him. And it was just one of those funny moments of like, okay, this is what it feels like to, like, screw up your schedule. And I'm really bad at taking lunches, even though it's still on my calendar, just book right over it. And I don't know. I think that there's all sorts of stories we can make up. And right now, I just got an invitation yesterday from the regional director of Keller Williams, who's making us go to a meeting on a Tuesday, like all day in Baton Rouge. Then they're making us do a regional class on Wednesday. And he's like, hey, you want to go play golf with the guy that's teaching the class on Thursday? And I was like, yeah, but you already got me out for 2 days that week, so I'm going to politely decline now for mid-June. And he's like, okay. I was like, I'm just going to need time that week to do stuff. Like, it's just reality.
Yeah, and it's just
And I used to say yes to
deciding-
all that stuff.
It's just deciding and really not, like, I'm like, okay, I'm not really aligned to what the other person, I mean, this is going to come out totally wrong, so I'm going to like preface it, but I'm not really aligned to what the other person wants, unless it's like, I mean, not with clients and things like that, but like, it's like, if it doesn't align with my goal for my family, my goal for my agenda, what I want to do, I just have to question it and ask myself, like, is this something that is important? You know, not that I don't have time for people, but it will be like, I'll see you tomorrow. You know, if people are like, I need to talk to you today. Okay, let's talk about like, what's the emergency? Like, what's the level? Where are we at? Like, if you call me 2 times in a row and you're in my circle, I'll answer it because you probably have an emergency. But that's like the code.
Better be an emergency.
It's the code, yeah. So it's just prioritizing, but I do look ahead. I take 10 weeks off a year where I don't work. We travel a ton. I mean, it's just prioritizing time and deciding, you know, what aligns with my goal and what doesn't, or what aligns with my people's goal. Yeah, you can do it. You're just telling yourself a different story that's telling you you can't.
Where are you going next?
So I'm here. I go home next Friday. I leave for Breckenridge, Colorado, where I only work like a couple hours in the morning to see clients, and then we hike and hang out. And then I come back after Memorial Day. I leave for DC for work because I have another company and we're based in DC. And then I come home, my son graduates, and a week later we leave for Italy for 3 weeks. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Not
I think
bad.
all my 10 weeks are almost packed in.
So this is working out.
This is working out. Yeah, it works out. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't come easy. You know, like this didn't happen overnight, and I'm still building it to like where I want to go. But it was important for me. Like, I want to take 10 weeks off a year. Like, I want a week off essentially a month. And that was important to me. So I reverse engineered that and said, well, I need a career that allows me to do that. And I do have skills that I've been working on for 20 years. I'm 49 this year. So I'm like, I've been building to that.
You know what makes real estate homes sell that you've been having listed for a long time? that
Is you travel.
can never get
Get on
sold?
a plane. The minute
Travel.
that you walk,
The minute
Yeah.
you leave.
The minute you walk onto a jetway, your phone will ring.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's the way it goes.
yeah.
All right, any more for Chris?
Hopefully this was helpful for you guys today. Yeah.
Online, do we have any questions?
Huh?
I look forward to the book.
Thank you. The book, actually, I started writing it. It's about like the seed of identity that you have that's like either propelling you or you're sabotaging yourself with it. Yeah.
Something that I'm finding very helpful is like the collaboration with your partner or spouse with the calendar.
Oh, 100%.
I feel like to get it, because my wife she has a whole different job, right? And so for her identity to embrace that, like, oh, we're going to be putting this little girl's birthday party that's in 3 months, we're going to put it on that calendar. That was kind of foreign, but I think once we put a haircut, she didn't book her hair, tell me she had a haircut, which takes months to book, and I had an open house that day.
I gotta remember that day.
We, in my house,
Now there's a bunch of haircut appointments in my calendar.
yeah. So
Look.
I'll give you like hot
For your wife.
And I'm not aligned with this company, but there's an app called Family Wall, and that's like, because mine is a village. I have an amazing ex-husband that I co-parent with. I have a boyfriend, partner. I have my mom. Like the whole village of my life runs on Family Wall, because you can connect your Google Calendar to it or your Outlook or whatever, and then everyone can see the pertinent like kid and vacations and like work things that you allow it to see. So the whole
Cool.
village can see the calendar.
All right, and you're around.
I'm around, yeah. If you guys need me, I'm around. I may call you within the next day, or you'll hear from Jules first, but
Cool.
Like I'm here if you need something, if you guys want to explore coaching or what your options are. Call me, text me.
Thank you, Kristen.
You're welcome. Thank you guys. It's so good to be here with you. I love coming down.
All right. Let's roll on.
Okay. I'm gonna go off.
Yeah, there's stairs. You're welcome to use them.
What's that? I'm gonna grab my coffee and go.
Cody, I know where the, oh, in case you need to get Kristen, I know where the pickle is.
The clicker is? Where
Yeah, so I've had kind of a whirlwind
where'd you have the
last
clicker?
week since we were having our last meeting.
Yeah.
I spoke to 300 of the top agents in the Atlanta area about using AI to make strategic business plans.
What'd you tell them?
I said use AI. They actually, 100 of them in the room downloaded the Keller Williams New Orleans Thrive app, and we're sending hundreds of messages just in this little period of time. It was really interesting to see all that go. I was also live demoing it, which we know those are like really makes you nervous to have someone putting up load on your servers like has never been put on, and to be demoing it on Wi-Fi
On a
at the
build
same
that's
time.
been like released for 12 hours.
Yeah, like right on a bunch of changes we made. So the app is getting a lot of interest. We got another group coming on in Missouri this week, another 200 users, 900 in Atlanta joining, all kinds of things. So all that's really good. And then I spent Monday and Tuesday with Jeff Woods and 100 other business owners. He's the guy that wrote the AI leadership book, and the AI Powered Leader, and everyone in that room is committed to transforming their businesses and implementing AI in every way. And we had a couple of people who are like building these things for companies, and what those people are doing feels years ahead of where like we are, and I think we're in a pretty good place.
You know, we did this exercise on Monday, which was about just kind of marketing strategy for the office, right? And
Yeah.
you sent me what seemingly was how do you form a marketing strategy?
Right,
for
a creative
business,
brief.
Right, a creative brief, right? And it was fairly basic questions, and you went through it. And there was a little bit of like goodness in getting that out and going back and forth with it. And it wasn't
Yeah.
even like a purely exercise of like, here's all the answers from me to you. There was like a huge conversation that at least I had with AI about each of my responses. Like, this isn't quite right, but this is what I'm going for. And that thought process, if I was to do it by myself, would have taken 16 hours, right? Instead of 2 hours, which I think is just part of like the power once you start knowing how to communicate with it. And like Jeff Wood says, be the thought leader and use it as your thought partner, right? You have to lead the conversation still. Yeah. You don't want just the generic vomit that it's going to give you, but it can like wordsmith it and make you move faster.
And if you're just using it for writing emails or listing descriptions, that's not, I mean, great, but that doesn't really count.
Usually it's,
right.
A lot of times it's negative, right? If you're not doing it correctly, because I mean, I can read I can see it's an AI email from a mile away, and
really
depending
quickly
on like what the email is, there's a huge level of judgment, right, on somebody. So
sure,
yeah, be careful.
All right,
John, let's talk some
John,
rates.
Fed's meeting today.
These are about the best rates that I've seen.
It's only 1.7 on that board. But the 10-year's sticky almost at 4.3.
Yes, it's stuck around 4.3. It's trending down the last couple of days, but that's after it went up, so it really doesn't matter.
Yesterday.
Well, yesterday.
I think it was
this
Besson's
morning.
news that he's going to Switzerland to meet with China.
That's the best.
That was the thing that drove us down.
Yes, and the Treasury auction yesterday, the 10-year had a lot of foreign interest. For the purchases. So one of the fears with everything that's been going on is foreigners are not going to be buying U.S. public debt or U.S. debt. And so the Treasury auction kind of has put that, in a calm manner. And so it's good news. I think it's positive for the market in general. And the Fed, meeting ends today, and 2 o'clock is the release of the meeting notes, and then 2:30, everyone's going to be listening very intently to Mr. Powell.
But nothing's expected to change.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
No rates are expected to change, but undoubtedly he's going to make comments about the future of the economy, GDP.
Yeah.
His words will change the market.
Yes. I mean, they're going to parse everything he says.
Yeah. But Powell's a pro at this point.
Yeah.
You think so, yes.
This isn't Christmas 3 years ago
But this isn't
Right.
also normal.
where he ran his mouth a little too much. But, okay, so let's bring this back. We're getting a little far field. Let's bring this back. Basically, still huge interest rate volatility. Lock as soon as you've got a price you can afford.
Yes.
When we're at a listing appointment and they're also going to buy, and they say, well, what do we do? It's getting late in the season. We're nervous. Maybe things get a little bit better. Is there any reason to think things get better anytime soon?
Well,
Markedly better.
I don't think so. No, no.
It's good and bad, right?
There's, no, it's going to be choppy until for several months. Things will remain choppy. So if you catch it on a good day, you're lucky, and if you don't catch it on a good day, then, well, that's just the way things happen sometimes.
Yeah, and you could be a month out.
Yes. Yeah, and over here we are having issues with obviously long listing periods in general,
Right.
and so I feel sorry for the sellers just because they don't control.
They don't listen to us and
They don't
price.
listen to you as well.
Right. They don't price it right. But buy before you sell is still a great loan that you all have. I mean, there's still lots of things that can fix these problems.
Yeah, so there's 3 buy before you sell options, and I ran into one issue this about 3 weeks ago with our friend
Tell us
Guy.
the good part.
So the good part is there is one that exists that doesn't care about where it's located, but what I've come to find out is that when they do a buy before you sell analysis, certain neighborhoods they're not going to touch, period. If the listing times are over 6 months on average, they're just not even going to make an offer on it. And so that's been a challenge in New Orleans. I've run into this in New Orleans.
Okay.
If only I knew the micro markets and could tell you what neighborhoods are under 6 months. That'd be great.
You
Good
don't?
Information.
You
No
don't
clue.
know? Okay. All right. Well, thank you, John. We appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
I'm sure everyone else knows though. All right.
Well, maybe we haven't touched this in a long time. We get we get a little bit of flack because our whole financial model is based for high-performing agents. The whole capping model, that's for people who, is really built for people who produce.
Earn it full time.
Yeah, are in it full time, and I always say, like, if there's places like Coldwell Banker that you can go pay 60% of your GCI and get leads from Sendent and like those kinds of places if you really need to do that when you're just starting. But we have a number of things to make that a little nicer for people who are getting started in real estate or who don't cap every year, and that is the personal transaction policy, which states you can transact on your own property and do up to 2 a year and not pay office company dollar.
Yep, you need to be in production. And so there's a minimum threshold of a couple transactions. You need to do at least 250,000 in GCI, so those transactions just can't be leases. And all you pay is a small transaction fee.
Yeah.
And so the key to this is you need to get this approved before you go through the transaction.
Right.
Work with Holly for that.
Don't tell Crescent Title, oh yeah, that you don't put the commission on, like all those things. Just communicate with us ahead of time.
If you are taking commission on it, you have to pay royalty on it still.
Yeah.
And
So communicate with Holly ahead of time.
Understand the tax consequences. We also want you to make sure if you're a part of that transaction, you have the right insurance, and this helps us have those conversations.
Bingo.
Yep.
ICA is next.
Yeah. Oh, this is what it actually says inside your ICA, because we believe that you should have all these policies in writing, right?
Yeah, we have a great independent contract agreement that's very clear with nice big print.
Yep.
And the next. Bam.
Bam.
Oh, look at that. We're very clean. Very detailed. Okay.
And I got that right. I was kind of, 250, or did you change that right before? Okay.
Well, you said in GCI. Sales
It's
volume.
volume.
It's volume.
Oh, volume, yeah. You're not having to make 250,000 in GCI, yep.
So friendly to people who don't count.
Yeah, all for 5 of you.
Okay. Fraud alert. We haven't done one of these in a while.
Yep. So,
I am really annoyed, by the way, with the way a couple title companies work. I feel like it's two extremes right now. It's either like Crescent Title, where everything needs like triple confirmation, which I don't mind because at least it's for security, or they just don't give a damn. They're like, email us plain text your wire info.
yep.
That should be a red flag. That's a big red flag. So pick up the phone. Like, there's no excuse not to pick up the phone. I'll tell you, when we closed our...
I'll tell you, even the phone concerns me. I mean,
Sure.
The phone concerns me because we can...
if you dial the wrong number...
I can take Kristen's voice and replicate it and get you a phone call from Kristen later today without too much effort in today's times, right? And so, like, you're looking for all the flags. Do you have Kristen's phone number already saved in your phone? Have we talked about this before? Are we actually near closing, right? There's no reason you're doing this before you're clear to close.
Right.
And usually these scams happen before that. There's a lot of things. You could literally go drive to a title company if you've never used and got their information.
I think that's really smart. And I think back when we were closing on the hotel in December, what did we have to do day of the closing? We had to go get a physical check from the bank.
Yeah, I mean, we could not get we couldn't get it wired.
Like,
it was just
they just did not want to wire it.
Yeah.
It was too new of an account, too much money, too much, all these things.
They wanted us physically to show up, and we're like, a check is the best way to do that. One check.
Jeffrey, present your ID.
Yeah, they wanted human to human to pass it off, and which was super annoying, but made total sense.
Probably the safest thing that was happening.
Yeah. So sometimes the old is new. Yep.
Okay.
Let's talk about some events.
We have an event coming up. Oh, how did this? Sorry, I missed this. How did this go yesterday?
I'm super biased, so you'd have to ask, other people.
I just think that new agents, even if you don't have any clients, you should be coming to these because we had top agents in discussion and it was fantastic.
I think it's for any agent.
It's
Yeah.
exactly. No, I mean the exposure is so important. These events are for everybody. We want y'all there. They're great.
Bring in the wood.
So
500 level discussion.
Yeah. So yesterday, the two tactics we talked about were probably the most important, right? And it was pricing and pricing strategies for the market.
Yeah.
Like, how do you actually have those conversations and show the models? What does stillness look like, and why is that actually important? And how you can actually never catch up to the market value of your home because you've priced it wrong. Great conversation. The second one, which everyone loves to ignore, is staging. And how do you do that? How do you afford that? What is accessory staging? How would you virtual stage if that's what you were going to do? What's the point of that? What listings you do? Great conversation. Next week, I'll tell you what we're doing. Creating urgency and sending and expanding the options, creative financing.
Love it.
We had a side afterwards, and we're talking about in the value, the deal of the week, and we talked about what if we bought a whole portfolio of properties using owner financing right now. There's so much owner financing out there, and why are we not invested in that? That would not cost us really very little if we all contributed to that. But that conversation is, creative financing. Do you understand how owner financing works? Do you understand a 2-1 buy down if you want to bring somebody's rate down? Things that are a lot more complicated than the market that we were in a couple of years ago, where it was, you understand a conventional loan.
And if you don't know what he just said, you should be there next week. Boom.
Boom.
God
Good
bless you,
times.
Lori. Okay, and speaking of deal of the week,
We should have a boom, 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 boom.
we need music. We need
Yeah.
music for it. Where are we here?
Oh, I don't even. Okay. All right. So deal of the week. You can either scan the QR code real quick, or you can go to slido.com and put in 8601, which is our address in case you didn't know. I'll give you a couple seconds, and you're just going to have to go to the web. All right.
I'm going. Slido.com.
Okay, real quick, I'll let you.
Oh, you know what? I did Slido in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody realized. I made the Slido number 2103.
2103.
No one picked up on that. It was 21-3 in the third quarter when the Falcons, or 28. That's what it was. 28-3 when the Falcons lost to the
You
Patriots.
didn't even get it. It sounds like.
No, I just didn't remember it offhand. I remember.
All right, Ken, come on.
It won't let me
Just a
vote.
fun thing to troll your own audience. Nobody got it. It was
So this is an interesting property. This
no
is
active
on
poll.
Norman C. Francis. This property right now is at $475. They're generating $7,175 long-term tenants
month?
there, right? A month. Now, to the right and to the left, another property, $425. You buy all three, you get them at a deal, you're generating $18,000 a month. A block down in each direction towards Canal and towards Banks, there are 2 fourplexes that they also own in this portfolio.
The crisis
so you
hotline
could-
is blowing up.
You could be racking it up. Matter of fact, I have to leave here in 5 minutes because I have a client that's going to put an offer in on this place today.
We're live streaming this, and it's so
That's right.
popular. Careful with the wire.
Yep.
So if you got that all for 1.3 million,
So 1.3, your debt
I think you
service,
can get it for less than
your
that.
taxes, insurance. We were talking about yesterday, somewhere probably 120,000.
Yep.
You're making about 200,000, about 80,000 in potential net from the transaction.
it's an 11
New
cap.
roof, vinyl siding, new ACs, new windows.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right.
All right.
But
Next.
don't leave. You might.
Oh wait.
Oh wait, where's Helene's?
Oh, there we go.
Come on.
Aline. Boop, boop. All right. We'll take Rebecca.
So in lieu of Lean, you got me. Hey guys, so most of the other deals of the weeks have been for investors who have a lot of cash. This is for your renters who can get onto the property ladder for less than what they can rent for. So this is a cute as a button, 2-bed, 1-bath cottage with an accessory dwelling, like it was accessory shed, so you got about 250 square feet of space for storage for $99,000. So let's do the math on this. Helene feels pretty confident that it could go for FHA, so it means you can put down $3,500, give or take. And then that means your note each month will be around $650 a month. Who has a rental in Orleans Parish, 2 bedrooms for $650 a month?
And what a cool location too.
The cheapest, yeah, it's right across from Lakefront Airport. The cheapest active 2-bed, 1-bath rental in Orleans Parish is $995. So you can buy this house, reduce your living costs by 35%, build equity, and you don't have to rent anymore. And then you have that trading card that you can then trade up into getting a new house or just break the cycle of renting. So you can get on the property ladder for less than $100,000.
And off-street parking.
Off-street parking.
And a garage.
It's cute as a button, easy to maintain.
Oh, this is tough this week.
PI.
Taxes and insurance.
Yeah.
This is tough.
It's $650, something like that, depending on what you qualify for.
All right, let's see. Who are we voting for here?
You're not voting?
If there's a tie, I'll be the tiebreaker.
Ken, you better start lobbying.
Oh, can you just yeah. Oh.
I ain't lobbying,
Oh,
I'm
no.
just going to buy it. That's what I'm telling.
Is this our winner?
I gave you the hint.
All right. Well, so Rebecca, you got to come up here.
For
And,
a chance.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, here.
The Wheel of Fortune over here.
you weren't here last week.
No, I didn't get.
You didn't
I
watch-
was
you didn't
here.
watch the recording? No, you were.
I wasn't.
I pay.
Business P&L review.
With Holly. All right. Look at that.
Holly's like, I didn't know I signed up for anything.
No, she was voluntold.
Surprise.
Jean has a way.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Ken, see you tomorrow at Second Harvest.
Yes, I'll be there.
Good.
So, tomorrow's Red Day, where the entire company shuts down and volunteers. We will be at Second Harvest at 10 a.m. So if you feel lost in going over to Elmwood like I do, you can meet here before and we can follow each other. This is where it's located. You can put in Second Harvest, just understand it's the location over by Elmwood, the Walmart over there. That's what the front looks like.
Do you think that's what Elmwood is, that Walmart?
I don't know what Elmwood is, to be honest. No.
Or you just type in the Palisade or
There's a
20.
Banana Republic and a J. Crew outlet, and that's all that matters.
That's a
right?
great J. Crew outlet. Yeah.
The gym, Oshner Gym.
Sky Zone?
Yeah.
I love it over there.
Yeah.
I just like the gym because it's got a bar.
The fancy biblos.
So we're just working from 10 to noon, and then we'll come back here in Oak Title. We'll have lunch for us at 12:30.
Oh, Stuart, what a
Closed-toed
mensch.
shoes only. Wear red. We have more shirts for purchase. If you already purchased your shirt, it is at the front desk. Please pick it up. I would probably wash it before you wear it.
Why?
I think that's a good practice
Just, you know.
period.
Suggestion.
Mass
Because the fine
manufacturing.
people at Temu, children that made it.
Well, can't wait for them to
Hydrate,
go.
all the things. We'll see you there at 10. Here for lunch after. Thank you. All right. The title for sponsoring lunch.
We don't try to have child labor, but I'm sure it sneaks in.
The tidbits. We should take all your tidbits and put them
I have
together.
great ones.
Yeah, talking
That'd
about
be great.
child labor. Remember this one.
All of your
right.
Jeffrey
So
Epsteins.
we have picked a hotel for Mega Agent Camp, and so if you'd like to stay with us, you don't have to. It's going to be the Marriott River Center, not Riverside.
God, that was so awful to book.
What?
Because you and I were confusing each other,
'Cause you
River Center,
wouldn't just let me do
Riverside.
it. All right.
No, I did let you do it. All right, Mega Camp's going to be awesome, even though it's in San Antonio. Just saying. I'm excited. Chris is loaded. Chris Smith, he's going.
Oh,
Yep. I got to sneeze.
Thomas is going. It's going to be great.
look at the light.
Okay. And that's it.
It's crazy seeing the Austin Convention Center.
There's no Holly Hint today.
This should. Perfect.
Holly's out of hints.
Well, everyone, the weather is better.
But this slide has to be wrong here. There's no way all this is on tour.
I think it's possible. I think it's possible. And it's time. Go on tour, everybody. The weather is beautiful now. It's an honor to be in business with you. Have a great day. Go sell something.